How you doing? I'm Nicholas Kenrick, and I'm going to be going over squad fighting formations today. This is, the first of many classes to reach our end goal, which would be conduct a squad attack. So this is the first step, and each lesson after this will build on each other until we reach our overall goal of being able to conduct a squad attack successfully. So our goals for today's class are to understand how to move, how infantry squads move in teams, and how they move with the squad, spacing, and the reasons why we do all these things that we do. So, by understanding this, that will allow us to build on this to walking, running, and then in the end, executing our mission, which would be squad attack. So, the first thing you need to understand is a squad is a nine people, two four-man teams plus a squad leader. All right. So to begin with, we're going to start with a team. What is a team? A team consists of four people. It's a rifleman, it is a grenadier, a team leader, and an automatic rifleman. Rifleman is just your regular guy, carries his rifle, and that's it. Grenadier has a rifle with a grenade launcher attached to it, so it's a little bit more of a casualty producing weapon. The team leader is like a section, just a first line supervisor for that team. He's controlling those other three guys and himself. And then you have your automatic rifleman, which is obviously a machine gun. And they're the ones that are the most casualty producing weapon in the team and the most firepower that team has. All right, so now that we understand that, we're going to move on to how they move. All right, you basically have three formations that a team moves in. First formation we're going to go over is the file. If you look here at my visual aid, you have your rifleman, your grenadier, your team leader, and your automatic rifleman. All right. If you notice, if the direction of travel is that way, they're basically walking in a line. All right. The advantages of this formation is you can move really fast. The team leader has excellent control of his guys. He knows where everybody is. Disadvantages are you only have firepower really to the left and right, to the flanks. If something hits you from the front or the rear, it's going to be hard for you to react to that. So when thinking about all of these formations, you have to decide, why am I doing it, and is it more advantageous for me to be in this formation versus this one? You have to weigh your risk versus rewards. So put the team leader as the number 3 man in this file. He's allowed to move around wherever he can best control his team. So he could be number 1 if he wanted to be. Typically, though, he's going to be back here towards the back. That way he can keep a hold of that automatic rifleman, which is, again, the most important guy on the team because he has the biggest weapon. And he's more centrally located so he can control the other 2 guys as well. As far as spacing is one of those things that varies. If it's really dark, if it's really thick woods, whatever it is, you can be either closer together or further apart. Ideally, the further apart you are, the less likely more than one person will get hit if something bad happens. So my general rule of thumb that I teach is you want to be as far apart as you can and still be able to control everything that you need to control. So, be that 5 meters, be it 20 meters, you have to be able to make that decision on the ground. So moving forward, our second fighting formation for a fire team is the wedge. Self-explanatory, shaped like a wedge. Have the team leader number 1 in the front, an automatic rifleman to his right, a grenadier to his left, and a rifleman to that grenadier's left. So again, direction of travel is moving up. Team leader's in the front, that way you can control where they're going. If you put somebody else in the front, he's going to have to communicate, and it might get lost in translation where exactly he wants to go. So he's going to lead this formation himself. All right, he's got his automatic rifleman to the right, all by himself. Like I said, he has the biggest gun, so he doesn't really need another wingman out there. And this also gives the team leader good control of the automatic rifleman. And then to the left side, you have the grenadier and the rifleman. All right, so this is an excellent fighting formation for just about anything. If you take contact from the front, which would be up here, they just get on line like this, and then you have all 4 guns pointed towards the direction of contact. If you get contact from the left, same thing. Everyone gets on line. To the right, everyone gets on line. This is the best fighting formation. However, it is slower moving than the file because you have guys spread out. It takes a lot more control from that team leader and a lot more verbal communications. Spacing. As far as spacing goes with this one, I like to say is you spread out as far as you can and still be able to communicate with each other via hand and arm signals. Whatever you're using, you need to be able to communicate and see that next man. So the rifleman should be far enough to see the grenadier. The grenadier should be far enough away from the team leader that he can still see the team leader. And the automatic rifleman should be far enough away from the team leader that he can still see the team leader. That way, nothing is lost and everyone can still communicate with each other. It doesn't really matter if the rifleman can see the automatic rifleman because that's not who he's concerned with. He's concerned with his spacing off of that grenadier. Alright, so moving on, then we got the diamond. So in this formation, the wedge that we were talking about, this is if you have another friendly units behind you. For instance, if this whole line was a group of Americans or friendly forces, you don't really have to worry about rear security so much because you have friends behind you. The diamond is for when you don't have friends behind you. Set up much like the wedge, you have your team leader up front, grenadier to the left, automatic rifleman to the right, and you have that rifleman right in the back, lined up with the team leader. That way, every once in a while, he can look behind him to make sure nobody's coming. As far as the fighting of this, it's a little bit harder to get online. Still a lot better than the file for fighting. But again, it's going to be slower than the file. So just to recap real quick, the file, most control, moves really fast, limited security. The wedge gets the most security and the easiest to fight, but it moves slower and you don't have anybody covering your rear, but it's the best fighting formation we have. And then you have the diamond for when you don't have anyone to the rear and you have to cover your own six. Alright? So those are your 3 team fighting formations. Now, we're going to progress now and see how these work into the squad. Okay? So like I said, a team is 4 people. A squad is 9. 2 teams and a squad leader. So now you have 2 first-line supervisors and then a major supervisor, the squad leader, that orchestrates everything that those 2 teams do. Alright, so let's look at this. That's your file, your squad file. If you notice from here to here, you got Alpha team, squad leader in the middle, and Bravo team. And like I said, as far as these teams, how they're set up, you can adjust that. It's going to be the squad leader and the team leaders making those decisions. Right, so right now I have this rifleman, grenadier, Alpha team leader, and automatic rifleman. All his guys are together, that way he can control them if something happens. There's squad leader in the middle, so he can overly control the whole thing and see what all's going on. You have your rifleman, grenadier, Bravo team leader, and automatic rifleman. Again, I like to keep my automatic rifleman close to the team leaders. Most casually producing weapons, now you have 2 of them. So those team leaders really have to have a good grasp on those guys. Everybody else can be moved around. As long as you're keeping team integrity, it's not a big deal. Team leader can be in the front, like I said, or however you want to do it. It's going to be up to that squad leader, though. He's going to have to make the decision. Squad leader is the hardest job in the Army. He's the one that makes all the decisions and is responsible for everything, good or bad, that happens. So a lot of stuff put on this guy. As far as the squad file, again, much like the team file, it's fast moving, it's quieter, a lot of control, and it's good for moving when you can't see very far or you need to get somewhere quick. However, just like the team file, left and right flank security is all you have. You only have 1 guy to the front and 1 guy to the rear. So if you get hit in the front or the rear, it's a significant muscle movement to get everybody where they need to be to return fire. So obviously, if everybody just returns fire to the front, you have good guys in front of you, so it doesn't work. All right, moving on. Got the squad column, fire team wedge. All right, so you got your fire team wedge just like before. You got 2 wedges, right? Your squad leader in the center. This whole formation is a squad, so the squad is in a column. The fire teams are in a wedge. Squad column, fire team wedge. All right, just like before, we have our alpha team leader, grenadier, automatic rifleman, and rifleman. Right? Got our squad leader in the middle, controlling everything. Then you have your Bravo team leader, automatic rifleman, grenadier, and rifleman. If you notice, the automatic rifleman is switched. It flip-flops for the second team. Why do you think that is? Well, it makes sense. If he's the most casually producing weapon, these 2 guys, If we have them on the same side, that leaves our left side unsecured. If we have them both on the left side, that leaves our right side less secured. So we flip-flop the teams the way they're organized. That way we have equal firepower on both sides of the formation. Okay, so just like the wedge, this is the best fighting formation for a squad. This gives us all the maneuverability in the world. Like I said before, if we get shot from the front, Alpha team is going to do what? They're going to get online. All right, so you have all four of these bubbas online, returning fire. The squad leader now gets to make a decision. Do we want to, retreat? Is it too many bad guys for us to fight? Or are we going to attack? If we're going to attack, we're set up perfectly. All the squad leader's going to do is come back to this Bravo team leader and say, hey, man, we're going to flank this. We're going to flank these bad guys. He's going to pick his guys up, and he's going to flank either right or left. And because of this formation, these guys are going to be far enough back that they're not going to be getting shot at yet. So they can flank around all the way around to the right and hit the bad guys from the side, while these guys have their heads pinned down. So that gets us in the spacing for this. Spacing for this needs to be as far as possible. The more spread out you are, the better. So in essence, the squad leader needs to be able to see the alpha team leader. Okay, so you're looking at about 15 meters, maybe further if you're not in dense woods or it's really dark. So he needs to be able to see this guy so he can give him the hand and arm signals and understand where he's going and what he's doing. That way he knows that the alpha team leader is tracking exactly what he wants. Bravo team leader needs to be as far back so that he can see the squad leader. Again, if it's not really dark and it's not really wooded and you got a good range of visibility, that allows this Bravo team leader to be even further back and further back. The further back, the better, because that's going to allow them to flank or do what they need to do without the enemy seeing them. So the more space, the better. Another thing with all these, you want to be spread out enough, like we said before, to make sure two people don't get hit with the same bullet, grenade, whatever it is. Right? We don't want to give them free points, if you will. We want to make sure we're spread out, so if only one of us gets hit, not five of us. So the more spread out these formations are, that you can still have good control, that's what you're looking for. That's the sweet spot that we want. Okay, moving on. Well, real quick, same thing. See how this back team's in a wedge? We have friendly forces behind us. We don't have to worry about covering the rear. Moving over, same formation. Get your alpha team in a wedge, squad leader in the middle, and Bravo team in a diamond. Squad's out all by itself. Nobody's behind them. They have to keep rear security. Have to have 360-degree security the whole time because you don't want to get shot from somewhere you're not looking. So we want to have someone looking in every direction. So we bring that rifleman into the diamond formation for that trail team, and now we have it. We have a 360-degree security. As far as spacing is the exact same. More spread out the better. Be able to communicate and give hand and arm signals, and make sure that squad leaders can control the whole formation, and those team leaders can control their teams. All right. So, like I said, this is the first of many classes in this block. If you looked at the lesson plan we put out, this is how to move as a fire team, how to move as a squad. This is going to turn into how to fight as a fire team, how to fight as a squad. And then after each class, like we said in the lesson plan, we're going to go from here, have you go out onto a field and walk around and actually see it in a nice big open field so everybody can see it. And then we're going to push ourselves into something harder where it's more dense, it's harder to see things, and then see how you react. That's the plan. And then the culminating event is, of course, us being able to execute a squad attack 4 or 5 lessons from now when we're in the wood line and it's as close to as real as we can simulate. All right? Just to recap, 3 formations for a team. Get your file, get your wedge, your diamond. All right? Like I said, fast, not very secure, easy to control. Best fighting formation, how you have to fight if no one's behind you. All right? You got your squad. Again, squad file. Fastest, easiest to control, least amount of security. Got your squad column fire team wedge. Best fighting formation we got. Can fight to the front, the back, the rear, the right, the left. Anywhere you want to fight, this is the formation you want to be in. We have friendlies to our rear. Same thing, squad column fire team wedge, no friendlies to the rear. We're going to bring that rifleman over and set that diamond up. Okay, any questions? All right, so immediately following this class, we're going to go outside, take it to the park, and we're going to get in that open field. And we got about an hour and a half of practical exercise, walking through it, and everything else. So if you don't understand it yet, and you're too scared to ask questions, once we get out into the open field, you'll be able to visualize it. We'll have guys moving around. We'll put everybody in the right positions, and we'll make sure that you're tracking. And then we'll go from there to the woods. And then, like I said, next week's class, we'll learn how to fight like this. This is just for moving. Learn how to fight and move, communicate, fight, and move, and then we should be ready for our final. Thank you.